Muhannad Ayyash is a professor of sociology at Mount Royal University. He joins me now live from Calgary. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. So, talking about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, despite the Israeli army's spokesperson saying that Hamas is an ideology, it cannot be defeated, the Israeli Prime Minister says that this war is not going to stop until Tel Aviv roots out Hamas from Gaza. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Netanyahu basically wants this war to continue forever because his own army spokesperson says Hamas cannot be defeated.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me, first of all. And you are correct. Netanyahu and his government have decided that they don't want to ceasefire, that they want to continue to carry out this genocidal operation against the Palestinian people. Their goal is much larger than defeating Hamas. They are trying to end Palestinian resistance and to end the Palestinian desire and aspiration for a free and sovereign life on their lands. So this is really critical to underscore in this, and we've known for a long time that this so-called agreement that Israel gave to the Americans for the proposed ceasefire plan, that was part of a PR stunt by the Americans, and this is just confirms it. Netanyahu has no interest whatsoever in a ceasefire at the moment or into the foreseeable future.
Right, but I think we got to read between the lines as well. I mean, let me ask you, to what extent do you think Netanyahu's political career, future political career, is a factor here when it comes to him denying a comprehensive ceasefire in Gaza?
So that is part of it, but I actually think the other part of that, when it comes to his political career, that is not discussed as much, is his own personal aspiration to be this great leader of Israel and of the Zionist movement that has once and for all sort of eliminated Palestinian resistance and set the stage for the creation of a greater Israel over all the lands from the river to the sea, and start the process of creating official Israeli sovereignty on the entirety of the land. I think that is his actual personal aspiration and what he would like his legacy to be. Of course, I don't want to downplay his legal troubles and all of his political desires to survive as a political player in Israeli politics and so on. But it is part of this larger vision he has of himself as this great historical figure who will go down in history as the Israeli leader who has finally began and solidified the creation of greater Israel. And so that's an idea that animates Netanyahu and his government and many of his allies and voters and supporters to a really significant degree, and is an important explanation of why is he acting the way he is acting. They want to continue this operation until the Palestinian people no longer are able to live a sovereign life in Gaza. And by the way, there's very little difference between Netanyahu and Gallant on this question. For the day after plan, Gallant is also on record as saying he doesn't want to see a Palestinian authority come into Gaza. He also wants to see Hamas eliminated. So this is while there is some friction within the Israeli government over some of these issues, there is widespread agreement on the idea that they don't want Palestinian sovereignty or a Palestinian state on any of the lands from the river to the sea.
Okay, now, Mohamed, let's talk about the United States. And I have asked this question to many experts over the past few months, and to be very honest, I still have not received a solid response to it. Let me pick your brain on this one. So over the past few months, we are here on TRT World have interviewed many experts, and most of them have told us that if there is one country, one entity that can put an end to Israeli onslaught on Gaza, then it's President Joe Biden. It's Washington. It is the United States. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The general feeling coming out of Washington is that of a ceasefire. The U.S. wants a comprehensive ceasefire in Gaza. Tell me, why is it not being implemented? Have they lost their influence over Tel Aviv now?
I don't think they have lost their influence, but what they do think, what they calculate, is that for them to stop Israel, it would be too costly for them politically in terms of internal American politics. I think the Biden administration has calculated that an out and out Because what the US would need to do to stop this is to say no more weapons, not just we're going to withhold this one shipment of this one particular weapon that they've done. It's to say no more weapons, no more US Security Council veto power to protect Israel, no more legal and diplomatic cover for Israel. If they actually did that, Israel's genocide would stop tomorrow. But that's a big step to take. And the Americans are not willing to take it because they have too many interests that are aligned with the Israeli state in the region and beyond, in fact. So the Americans want the Israelis to stop this. They actually, I do believe the Americans when they say they don't want to see Israel reoccupying Gaza, but they're not willing to do what is necessary in order to accomplish that goal, precisely because they have so many interests that are still aligned so closely with the Israeli state's interests. There's a game happening between the two. There is some friction between Israel and the US, but they both understand that more of their interests align with each other than these frictions are worth upsetting. So I hope that gives you a more straightforward answer to that. So they absolutely could do it. The reason they don't is because it is their interest to continue to support Israel unconditionally. And that is still the calculation within the US. Now, there are voices from both the right and the left that are starting to question that. Those voices have existed for a long time, by the way, but they seem to have accelerated now. But we're still a long way away. In my opinion, we're a long way away from seeing that kind of drastic shift in American foreign policy on this issue. I expect that they will continue to support Israel unconditionally for the foreseeable future, even though they know that it hurts their interests if Israel, for example, colonizes Gaza. If Israel engages in mass expulsion of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. It's a very sort of volatile situation right now, and the Americans don't like volatility too much at this moment. So there is this friction, but there's still, again, an affinity between the interests of both countries.
Fascinating insights. Muhannad Ayyash, thanks very much for talking to us here on TRT World. I really appreciate your taking out the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.